Okay, so I think we can already start with the discussion ng part 2 natin ng module number 7 natin in Empowerment Technologies. So, on this part, we will actually talk about the different graphic design tools and the different softwares that we can use to easily start with graphic design. So, if you were able to watch or listen to our discussion from the last meeting, I was able to discuss there the elements and the different principles of graphic design. So, nag-discuss din tayo dito ng mga different tools na pwede nating magamit, the starting. Na-discuss ko rin doon yung mga skills na kailangan meron ka. Yan. If you really want to consider a career in graphic designing. So since we actually talked about the basics, especially the concepts of graphic design, maybe you are asking and wondering how can we even start with graphic design. So we have the following graphic design tools and software. And by the way, hindi po lahat dito free. And medyo mahirap siyang, yung iba may kamahalan. Okay? Pero I just have to inform everybody na rin na pwede nyo rin siyang makuha or pwede pa rin kayong makapag-start in graphic design using some alternative softwares which I will also introduce later on. So the very common and the most popular graphic design tool na ginagamit natin is of course Adobe Photoshop. So, ako personally, this is the number one or the main graphic design tool I am using on my end. Kasi number one, it's actually the it's very powerful. It's easy to use. Yan. Tapos I can easily manipulate and somehow create an image or create some posters from scratch. Yun nga, napaka-powerful niyan and at the same time uh, very intuitive na rin at the same time. So, personally, this is my personal favorite amongst all other graphic design tools and software. I have been using Adobe Photoshop like for siguro around 6 years na rin or more than 6 years na rin. Kasi nga, nag-i-start ako dating mag-practice ng graphic design. Talagang Photoshop ang tinuturo sa amin. So, what are the following features? What are the features ni Photoshop? So, we have here the features in which we can, of course, add text to image. We can correct the colors. We can also select the borders. We can create some incredible images from scratch, especially posters. We can also quickly organize photos for easy access. Marami pa. You can manipulate some image. You can even, perform some face swapping. You can actually change the background, mga ganyan. So, pwede kang... So, basically, lahat. Imagination is your only limit on this one for as long as you know how to use it. Ayan. So, what else? Photoshop yan. Meron tayong different cons dito sa Photoshop na to. Ito naman, since it's very powerful, medyo mahaba-haba yung learning curve natin. Okay, this is actually not easy to learn. And Photoshop is a very powerful software and you really need to, master it and spend or invest some time in order for you to at least master the use of Photoshop. In fact, ako nag-enroll pa ako sa mga classes, online classes na talagang naka-focus sa Photoshop before para lang matutunan ko yung mga kailangan kong gawin. So, yan, that's actually one of the disadvantage ni Photoshop. Masyado siyang malawak, no? Pero, trust me, kapag ka nandun na kayo, madali siyang matutunan. And if in case you want to install Adobe Photoshop here, you can just simply go ahead and search the internet for Adobe Photoshop. Tapos, makikita nyo naman agad. May bayad siya, syempre. Yan, it's actually like $20.99 a month for Adobe Photoshop alone for a single user. Syempre, may way din para makrack natin ito pero hindi natin to di ba? Hindi ko i-recommend to para sa lahat. Yan. And because that's too risky. Actually, the $20.99 is very cheap na rin considering Photoshop is very powerful as well. So, yan, if you want to have a full control when editing your images, this is actually the best tool to use. So it's also allow you to create stunning images from a blank canvas. So I suggest, kung gusto nyo talagang makapag-start, mag-create ng mga posters, mga kung ano-ano dyan, start kayo na mag-consider gumamit ng Adobe Photoshop. Take note, this is actually a tool being used for graphic design. I'm actually talking about here a step on how to become a, legitimate editor na tinatawag natin. That's number one. Number two, we have, CorelDraw. Okay, this is another software, but then it focuses more on vector graphic design. So it comes with several tools that allow you to create realistic and incredible illustrations. I have personally tried this, pero hindi kasi ito yung forte ko in terms of the digital arts. I'm more into graphic designing part. Ang CorelDRAW kasi ginagamit to mostly sa mga paintings, sa mga sketching, and so on. So you can create some interactive sliders, live sketching, yan. Import legacy workspaces, enhance vector previews, mga ganyan. Font search in addition, and you can also have an ability to use a touch stylus to draw on the screen, this is also a good tool, by the way, kasi focus siya more on drawing or sketching talaga. Yan. The only disadvantage of this one is pang Windows lang siya. No other operating system can actually have this one. So Windows lang siya. Mac hindi rin, 'di ba? Linux hindi rin. The price here is $785 for annual subscription. Yan. I mean $785, tapos meron ka ring annual na $399 as well kapag ka gusto mo mag one time. So for the verdict, when you want to create for professional and lifelike vector images, CorelDRAW is actually the best graphic design software to use. So it has a steep learning curve just like Photoshop, but quite wonderful once you master it. So depende yan kung ano yung style ng editing nyo, no? So if you think na mag-excel ka more on sa drawing, dito ka sa CorelDRAW. Number 3, we have here what we call Inkscape. Inkscape is actually a free desktop vector graphic creation and editing tool. Mostly the target of this one is actually for beginners who really want to start learning vector graphic without editing or without paying anything. See, for example, you are really interested to start with graphic designing, you might want to consider first, installing this software kasi free siya. So, you can perform some simple object creation. Yan. Curves can be used to draw some intricate designs. Powerful color picking tool for easy selection. And the operations along paths for accuracy. More on pen tool kasi ito eh. Yan. So, it also supports transparent PNG rendering. And it has excellent text tools. Itong parang nakikita nyo dito kanina. The disadvantage of this one, it has a steep learning curve as well. Same with the two softwares earlier. Although it's best for newbies. So especially kapag wala talaga kayo idea sa sa graphic designing. Yan. If you really don't want to pay for now, you can actually always consider trying these free softwares. Okay? It's forever free. Yan. Which is a good thing. Now, Inkscape is actually great for those who know how to create vector graphics. In your module number 8, i-discuss natin kasi ang difference ni vector graphics and ni raster graphics. Okay? But then, for you to have an idea, let me explain the difference between them in layman's term. Pag sinabi kasi natin vector graphics, ibig sabihin, every time na zoom in mo yung isang image, hindi nawawala, hindi nako-compress yung image mo mismo. The quality is still the same. That's actually vector. Comparing to raster images, kapag zoom in mo ang isang image, kung napansin nyo, nagkakaroon na ng mga jagged lines, di ba? Kapag nagkakaroon ng anti-aliasing kapag zoom in mo. So, kapag vector graphics, hindi po. So, talagang napakalino pa rin kapag vector graphics. Yan. So, especially if you have a low budget to buy graphic design software, kagaya ng sinabi ko, you have to try this. Okay. Number 4, another graphic design tool here is actually one of the most famous as well, and personally I am also using this, the Adobe Illustrator. Yan. Ang Adobe Illustrator kasi, as to compare to Photoshop, it focuses more on vector graphics and vector graphic design. So, if I want to create some, some, what do you call this one? Infographics, for example, I prefer using Adobe Illustrator. Kasi the software is actually more intuitive and it's easy to use. And it can really produce some high quality output. Napakaganda talaga ng magiging output mo kapag ka Adobe Illustrator. Although, hindi siya parang Adobe Photoshop na pwede ka mag-perform ng mga manipulation kasi nakafocus siya more on the vector graphics. So, ito, it looks something like this. Ang, ano natin, ang Adobe Illustrator natin. So, kung napapansin nyo, inopen ko siya para at least makita ninyo yung difference niya. I know this will also sound this will look very complicated at first kasi napakadami mong tools na makikita. Pero, yun nga, once na nandito ka na, or once na nag-start ka ng inaral to, it will be very easy. And it's actually very fun. This is what I'm telling you about vector graphics. So, every time na zoom in mo, look, hindi nag-change yung quality. Di ba? So, hindi siya nag-change. Talagang napakalinaw pa rin. Oh. Ayan. And every particular points here sa image na nilalagay mo, the good thing about this, everything is manipulable. So, you can always perform some manipulation dito. So, pwede mong baguhin yung style ng shapes and so on. Diba? Napaka-high quality ng image natin kapag Adobe Illustrator. Ginagamit ko to again kapag gusto kong gumawa ng mga posters, infographics, and so on. Ang Photoshop naman ginagamit ko more on image manipulation, yung mga ganyan. And some basic poster stuff na kailangan kong gamitan ng mga effects. Yan. The con, it has a steep learning curve as well. Medyo complicated siya, honestly. Madaming tools kasi na kailangan mong matutunan. Pero, sulit siya kapag pag-aralan mo. Yan. So, it's actually a fantastic graphic design tool for creating web images. It outputs high-quality images in small sizes. So, yan. License, it's also not for free. Pero ang kagandahan kasi nito, kapag nag-avail ka ng Adobe Creative Cloud, magkasama na kasi sila. Okay? Magkasama na kasi sila sa package. Usually package yan eh. Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe After Effects, Adobe Premiere. Magkakasama yan as a single package. So, ang binabayaran mo, sulit naman. Ako para sa akin, sulit naman. Kaya talagang nag-i-stick ako sa Adobe Illustrator as my personal graphic design tool software. So, just like Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop, look. So, ganyan ang itsura ng Adobe Photoshop naman. This also looks complicated as well, di ba? At first. Pero, trust me, sulit yan. Pero, tignan natin. Kung zoom in kasi natin ng mga images natin kapag hindi siya vector, ganyan siya. Ayan, nakikita nyo, no? Medyo nagiging pixelated siya. Unlike yung Illustrator kanina, di ba? So, that's actually the difference between vector graphics and raster graphics lang. So, depende sa inyo kung ano yung trip nyong gamitin or kung saan kayo mas magiging komportable para ma-realize nyo kung ano nga ba talaga yung style ng graphic designing nyo. Okay? So, that's number 4. Let's move on to the 5th graphic design tool that we have here. This is actually what we call Canva. Ito, lagi natin naririnig and for sure you are all familiar with Canva. In fact, ito yung i-recommend kong gamitin ninyo to create your performance check. Kasi, syempre, hindi alam naman magbayad tayo ng mga softwares, diba? So, for now, we will be using Canva. This is actually an online tool. For as long as you have your internet connection, you can always start with editing dito sa part na to. So, it can create a wide range of documents and media that requires image manipulation. It is actually best used for social media purposes and other individual tasks, such as creating cards. One of the good thing about this one is its simplicity. It's very easy to use. Everything is actually drag and drop. Yan. Tapos, you can also use some pre-made templates for a wider range of applications. You can also organize everything here, especially mga templates natin. Yun. Pakita ko sa inyo, no, mamaya. Tapos, only the disadvantage of this one is actually the images are too large, giving different results when posted online or printed. Unlike Photoshop and Illustrator, you have actually the option to always adjust the canvas size, the image size, and the resolution. Unlike here, medyo kailangan mo pang tansyahin yung mga bagay dito. So as far as online graphic design software, this is actually a leader in the market and offers a wide variety of options. Whatever you need to design quickly, you will find it on Canva. Although it's actually free for the basic plan, the pro version comes at $9.95 yan, per month or $12.95 a month. So tingnan natin, no? Kapag pupunta tayo ng Canva, meron tayong, we can just simply go to www.canva.com and make sure to sign up using your email account. So in this case, I have here, yan, my email signed up. Nakapag-login na ako, no? So, once na mag-i-start kayo later on ng projects nyo, tingnan nyo to, I can just simply go here sa may poster. Tapos, tingnan natin yung project nyo dito. So, according here, you have to create a poster regarding the uses and advantages. So, you can always go ahead and click on the templates na meron available sa Canva for now. Kasi hindi ko naman kayo i-require na from scratch. So, you can always choose anything here for as long as magiging komportable kayo. So, for example, yan, I can just simply click on that. And the good thing about this software here is that everything is drag and drop. So, pwede mo siyang i-edit. You can always double click. You don't have to worry about the fonts that you need to install. Yeah. You can just simply add some image easily. Yan, you can detach the image, you can actually link them, and so on. Napakadaming pwedeng gawin. And so, there are some elements as well na pwede nyo na rin mailagay dito directly. So, for example, kung gusto ko itong palitan, gusto kong gawin na like related sa computer yung magiging output natin, you can always do that. Yan. Yeah, so drag and drop lang siya. Kumbaga, ano to editor ng mga nagmamadali, sabi nga nila. Yan. So you can go ahead and choose or start with editing or with your poster later on dito. Tapos once you are done, actually, you can go ahead and either save this. Yan. You can save this. Pero kapag free ka, medyo hindi ganun ka-high quality. Hindi rin transparent yung background. So, you have to pay for a subscription to fully utilize the some of its features. Yan. So, you can actually share. Yan. And so on. Madami kang pwedeng magawa dito sa Canva na to. So, I suggest na ito yung gamitin natin kapag mag-i-start tayo ng editing later on. Okay? Ayan. So, number 6. This is what we call Pixlr. This is actually a free graphic design software as well. So, basic Pixlr and advanced Pixlr E options. You can actually use the extensive image stock to create image media quickly. Personally, hindi ko to ginagamit. Okay, kasi may Canva naman kapag gusto ko magmadali. Although, it's very simple, especially the interface. You can also stick to the image library. It's also offers some seamless editing as well and sharing between Pixlr X and Pixlr E. So you can perform some double exposure, healing, cropping, and other powerful features to edit your images with ease. So, puntahan natin si Pixlr natin. Yan. So, pwede kang mag-create dito ng design, pwede ka rin mag-create dito ng photo editing. So, if I want to start a photo editing stuff, pwede natin yung gawin dito. Try ko nga ito. Ayan, diba? So, para rin siyang Photoshop in terms of its, its interface, pero it's actually easier to use. Although, kung nagmamadali talaga kayo, I still prefer na magamit natin si Canvas. Kasi si Canvas mas mabilis gamitin. Canva, I mean. Diba? So, that's actually Pixlr naman. So, it's forever free. Yan. Premium plan offered are $3.99 a month and professional plan for $14.99. Now, if you are looking for an Adobe Photoshop alternative, Pixlr is also a good tool for everybody. Well, in my case, meron naman akong Photoshop dito. So, yun yung ginagamit ko talaga most of the time. Pero kapag naka-experience ako na sa isang unit or for example, pag pumunta akong UC tapos need kong mag-edit, walang Photoshop. So, usually, for as long as may internet connection, yun yung gagawin ko. Ito na lang yung gagamitin ko. Diba? So, convenient na rin. It's also convenient. It's also powerful at the same time. Number 7, we have here Vector. This is an online and desktop cross-platform vector image creation and editing tool that comes with powerful yet easy-to-use features. So it's ideal for novice users. It's actually simple and effective user interface. You can also integrate some WordPress. It also supports importing images in a wide variety of formats. It can also be used for graphic design and web designing as well. It has a grid and snap tools for easy alignment, especially useful for web design purposes. So the desktop version allows for free 100 edits, and it cannot work without an internet connection. So kailangan mo ng internet connection. And this is particularly great for people who want to design graphics for website design. So yan, kung gusto mo ngayon mag-focus sa web designing, okay na okay to, goods na goods ka dito. The online tools is powerful to give you high quality images for your web application. It's free, yan. Or you can download the desktop version. So puntahan natin ngayon si Vector na website. Vector. Yan. Diba? Napakadaming tool na pwede nating magamit. So you can use the online tool. Nakikita nyo naman sa screen ko, no? And so I'm giving you a lot of options for you to try. Especially kung ayaw nyo magbayad, diba? So, okay na okay dito eh. Yan. So you have the pencil tool. You have an element in which you can simply, click. Okay. So I need to sign up. Alright, anyways. And we also have the pen tool, which is actually the most powerful thing ever. Yeah, so pwede na kayo maglagay ng mga kung ano-anong images and so on. Okay din pala, no? Ayan. Ako hindi ko kasi ginagamit to kasi meron naman akong Photoshop. And that's Vector. Number 8, Krita. Now, pagka talagang focus ka naman sa may part ng digital arts, Krita is also one of the best software out there. Na-try ko to personally, especially for animation purposes. Yan. And for painting, digital painting purposes. It's actually a wonderful tool for making those kind of things. Yan. Many people who create online comics use this since you can store and reuse assets that you have created. It has a clean and simple user interface, wide variety or wide range of brushes. Yan. The brush stabilizers, mas madali din. Especially kapag gumagamit ka ng mga graphics tablet, no? Mas maganda yung stabilization niya. Unlike pag Photoshop na kung ano yung live na stability na hand mo, yun din yung magpa-perform sa Photoshop. Unlike pag mga ganito, automatic niyang i-stabilize yung pag-drawing mo ng mga curves and so on. Especially yung mga accuracy yung strokes mo. Yan. Built-in texture templates din for comics and other illustrations. Yan. And although there is actually a single con, poor touch screen controls. Now, if you want to create hand-painted images for your needs, this is one of the best tools that you can use. The brush stabilizers ensure that your strokes are accurate as opposed to the other paint tools that we have. And it's free, by the way. So, pwede tayong pumunta sa Krita. Type nyo lang si Krita. Na-try ko to personally, maganda. Pang drawing. Yan, so you can simply click Get Krita now. Ayan. Okay. That's number 8. Punta tayo ngayon sa number 9. Now, number 9 is actually Gravit Designer. Ito naman, HTML-based graphic design software naman ito. Especially if you want to have or if you want to create some web app or UI, user interface design, pwede nyo itong gamitin. Especially kapag nagdi-design ka talaga ng mga websites. So, halimbawa, nasa field ka ng IT and computer science na front-end na nagde-design ng mga interface. Pwede ito. Yan. It's actually excellent. vector illustration design. Yan. Image and photo editing capability. And it's easy to use. Although, there is actually, uh, masyadong malalim ito. Medyo madami-dami rin na kailangan mong aralin yan. It has a steep learning curve and a challenging user interface. Okay. So, tingnan natin ang Gravit Designer naman. So, online din to eh. Ayan. Yun nga lang, syempre, may bayad yan. Diba? $49.99. That's number 9. Number 10, we have Lucidpress. It's an online graphic design software that you can use to create and manipulate images. So, ito naman, online tool din ito na pwede nyo rin gamitin. There is also a lot of template and drag and drop din siya just like Canva. And it's very simple. I personally have tried this one. Ayan. So, you can actually sign up using your Google account and everything will be fine already. Tingnan natin. Ayan, diba? So, yung free version, pwede ka ditong pumunta. Pero you can only create like 3 images or 3 edits lang. Ayan, so, design, for example. Yung individual. And, ito. Ayun. So, pwede ka ngayon makakreate dito ng, ayan, you can use the templates na meron tayo. You can start from a specific template na pwede mong magamit. So, you have a lot of options here, by the way. Okay? So, pwede mo na siyang maumpisahan. That's Lucidpress. I actually didn't include here another software na gusto kong introduce sa inyo as alternative to Photoshop. Yan. This is what we call Photopia. Ang Photopia naman, it's actually a Photoshop clone. Okay? This is, a Photoshop clone na pwede nyong gamitin para makapag-edit na rin. Yeah, para makapag-edit. And the good thing about this one, it is for free. Ayan, it is for free. For as long as you have your internet connection, masyadong madali. Masyado kang easy para makapag-edit nito. Let me show you let me show you how it looked like. Photopia. Ayan, di ba? So, you also have the layers, functionalities. Ayan. Pwede kang maglagay ng layers dito. This is an example poster na pinakita ko rin sa inyo in my Photoshop earlier. So, kung napansin nyo, yeah. Ang gandahan din nito, clone na clone ni Photoshop eh. Yun yung maganda dito eh. So, kung gusto mong lalo ako kasi sanay ako sa Photoshop. So, para sa akin, mas gusto ko to. Kasi, nandito na lahat eh. Yun nga lang, medyo especially sa exporting options, hindi siya ganun kaganda. And there are still some features na medyo kulang pa rin. Pero okay na rin para sa akin. And that's Photopia. And yeah, you can, for example, you have your PSD file, kagaya ng kanina. You can actually directly import the PSD file in Photopia. And so those are the different tools, the graphic design tools and softwares that you can use, especially if you want to start, if you really want to start with graphic designing. Okay? Now, let's actually talk about the different tips on how to make your posters stand out. Kasi, di ba, your performance check will actually require you to create a poster. And take note, you are only allowed to upload the following file extensions. You are not allowed to upload the link, but rather the image itself with the following extensions only. So you always have to consider the file extensions, okay? Now, these are the tips on how to make your poster stand out. Just a disclaimer, all of the posters you will about to see is actually a poster made by me. So, tingnan natin kung paano ko siya totally ina-apply sa mga posters na ginagawa ko. So, number 1, make sure that your posters are easy to read from a distance. So, especially kapag tumingin ka ng biglaan sa isang poster, di ba? You have to make sure na makikita mo or maa-apply mo yung tinatawag natin na hierarchy principle ni graphic design. You want to emphasize some specific elements sa poster mo. Diba? So, that will actually serve as the number 1 thing kung saan madodraw yung attention ng readers mo. So in this case, you have here the headline, which is actually the main and the largest text element in the design. Yan. It can be in an addition to art element. We also have what we call the details, what, when, and where. Diba? Answer these questions in the second level of the text. We also have the letter C, which is the fine print, which simply, it's a commonly seen, it is actually more on the way on how you promote the poster itself. Yan. Ganun siya. Very easy lang, pero you have to make sure na madali siyang intindihin, madali siyang mabasa from a distance. Especially kapag nakapost na siya sa social media or nakapost na siya or nakaprint na siya in particular. That's number one. Number two, you have to create some contrast as well. So you have actually one glance to grab someone's attention with a poster. That's why contrast as a principle of graphic design is also important to apply in poster making. Forget a monotone color palette with pale gradients. Go bold with color and type options. Poster design is a great time to try a typeface or any particular, font and color palettes as well. Pwede. Wala kang magiging issue naman dyan sa part na yan. Number three, you also have to consider your size and location. Okay. This is actually very important. Where is your poster going to be located? This factors in several ways. So for example, if you want to print your poster in a large event, you have to consider, you have to redesign the entire thing. Kung nakapost lang siya sa social media, syempre ibang usapan din yon, di ba? Yan. So, yan. The size of the poster, the visual clutter, what else? Knowing where the design will live can actually help you make the choices about how to create it. Not only is visual contrast important within your design, it is also important external factor as well. So think of this way. If your poster is going to hang on a green wall, you probably want to use a contrasting color scheme so the design doesn't blend into the environment. This poster here that I have created, kaya yung ganyan ang design and napakalaki, it's actually because of the fact na this is a tarpaulin. So I want everybody to at least read what is happening kahit nandun na siya sa malayo. Ito, halimbawa, di ba, kahit na nasa malayo siya, eventually, applying the hierarchical principle of graphic design, I want them to focus here first, followed here, and followed by the agenda and the notice. So, ganun siya, ganun ang idea ng magiging, ng gusto kong mangyari dito sa poster ko na ginawa na to. Okay? Na-gets ba natin? Yan. What else? You have also to make a mini version. Yan. So, while poster design is primarily a print object, create mini versions that can be used in other places as well. So, remember, one of those basic principles of marketing, a person needs exposure to something 20 times to remember it. And the multiple poster versions can help you accomplish just that. So, scale down the image. You can scale down the image that can be shared on social media, make a postcard, consider making a poster version, landing page for your website, and create a version that can be sent via email. So in this case, itong Sports Fest 2019 na to, ginawa ko to nung intrams natin sa UC 2019, senior high school. This is a tarpaulin, a very large tarpaulin by the way. Napakalaki na ito. Halos dun sa may gitna ng gym ito nakalagay eh. So, aside from this, I also have created this mini version na ina-upload as a cover, as a cover photo sa Facebook. Yan. So, pwede rin siyang maging, post sa Instagram or My Day or anything. Ginawan ko pa yan ng IG version kung saan na squared version lang yan. Parang ganon. Diba? So, you can create or make a mini version. Number 5, you use one big visual. So, whether you choose a photo, illustration, or text, a dominant image is the key. And just like the text, it needs to be readable from the distance as well. So, when designing the posters, think tight, close-up crops or faces or elements, single item illustrations, a common scene with a sharp focal point, novelty typography with high intrigue. So after you actually selected you select those visuals, be careful about layering those elements naman. So type and images needs to have enough contrast so that they are independently readable. So one big visual. Let me show you some of my projects here sa my Google Drive ko, especially for the print media, para makita natin kung paano ko totally na-apply yung mga concepts natin. So for example, meron tayong yung ginawa ko na cover ng yearbook natin ng TVL before. So a very simple cover, pero it's actually naglagay pa rin ako ng element na kumbaga formal pa rin siya at the same time. Diba? So that's actually how you can simply create a one big visual. Ako, nilagay ko siya dito, minsanan lahat sa gitna. Kasi that's what I want, 'di ba? That's actually what I want to see. And I want my readers to see. What else? Ano pa nga ba yung mga pinagagawa ko dito? Yan, ba mga pang birthday lang na mga invitation, 'di ba? Napaka-basic lang. So nandito yung image, nandito yung text. Very basic. For the banners, yan, mga simple lang din na banners and so on. So we also have some tickets na ginawa ko, 'di ba? So again, make sure na maglagay ka ng option mo para i-contrast mo si text or si type mo and the background itself. Number 6, use plenty of spaces. When it comes to posters, use exaggerated spacing between those elements. It may look a little funny to you at first, but the extra spacing will dramatically increase the visual impact and readability at distances. So there are actually some few places where extra space can work wonders in poster design. So for example, ito, between individual letters, pwede ka kasing maglagay dito pa ng mga kung ano-ano, tight kerning, between the lines of text, around interior margins of the canvas, between elements, and around the most important element in this design. I have here one of actually the most challenging na ginawa kong part sa sa pag-create ng poster is during nung ICT week namin before. So I actually have created here a very strange, graphic design posters in which hindi siya totally naka straight lang, pero but rather naka-slant ng konti yung ibang elements or most of the elements rather. Pero my purpose of this one is actually to combine each and every image into a single image. So kung i-combine nyo to, kung pagdudugtungin nyo sila lahat, yan, kung pagdudugtungin nyo lahat ng posters na ginamit namin, you can really create an entirely big image para ma-form ang idea ng event namin. So that's actually how I thought of incorporating a design pagdating sa ICT week namin before nung 2019. So ganyan siya. Diba? So kaya nga medyo strange, 'di ba? Kung napansin nyo, pa-slant. Yeah, we even have the ICT night ticket and so on. So, kung mapapansin nyo, nagamit ko talaga yung mga spaces ng maayos, and most of the time, nagtitira pa rin ako ng mga proper negative spaces. 'Di ba? Pero again, the concept of this one is more on, if you combine everything, it can form another image as well. That's number 6. Number seven, include a call to action. The goal of every poster is to expose people to something. Most of these touches involve inviting someone to something such as a concert or movie or another event. Yung mga call to actions natin, ba yung who, what, when, where natin, yan. You can even have for example, yung sign up or email us, yung mga ganyan. Pero depende yan kung anong klaseng event yung gagamitin mo or paggagawan mo, di ba? For example, yung mga call to action natin, coming soon, yung mga ganyan. For ito, yung mga ganito na flyers, baka basic lang din, di ba? Enroll now, yung mga ganyan na call to actions natin. What else? We can also create some focus with typography. Poster design is one of those places where you can really go crazy with beautiful typographies. So some of the best posters are made with type and color with no image or illustrations. So kagaya ng mga ganyan. Ginagamit ko rin yan personally, and most of the time I actually prefer playing around with typography. Pakita ko lang sa inyo. No? Halimbawa, itong mga books. Yan, yung ticket kanina na ginawa ko. So, kapag ginawan mo kasi ng mock-up yan, mas magandang magiging itsura. Yan. So, ganun din kapag mga ID design na ginagawa natin. We also have the infographics in which you can actually always play around with your design. Diba? And typography as well. Napakadaming pwedeng magawa eh. Toto, mga yearbook projects natin. Yun, diba? That's number 8. Number 9, use a cool printing technique. So, depending on the location, for your poster, cool printing technique might be in order. So, there are a lot of things you can do on a paper that just doesn't work on digital projects. So, that's, hindi ko na masyadong iaano to kasi kulang na rin tayo ng oras, no? Number 10, it's important to always have fun. Poster design is a place where designers can have a lot of fun. While there are plenty of things to think about and consider, this is actually an area where you can break the rules and go a little crazy with your design. So, go for it. Hindi po siya chore, hindi rin po siya task lang basta-basta. This might be another passion of yours to make. So, para kang nagdo-drawing, para kang nagpe-painting, di ba? Para kang nagma-music, you should have and always have to consider having fun while doing your graphic design projects. Okay? So, do you have any questions so far before we end this class? So, we still have like few remaining minutes to end this class.